You are listening to Making It in the Toy Industry, episode number 211. How does someone showcase awards or accreditations that their product might have won without it being overwhelming on a box?
First, you go through a series of questions. Is that claim, that stamp, that award really going to make the difference, right? Yeah. In the game industry, we have an example here where we did have more.
I'm so excited to see what he's going to pull on screen. I'm like, pull it on screen already, man.
Come on.
Welcome to Making It in the Toy Industry, a podcast for inventors, entrepreneurs, and makers like you. If you have a toy or a game idea, but you're not sure what to do next, you're in the right place. Tune in every week to learn all about how you can navigate the toy industry just like the pros.
Hey there, toy people. Ajel Wade here, and welcome back to another episode of the Toy Coach Podcast, Making It in the Toy Industry. This week's episode, we are going to chat toy packaging. Our guests today are Brittany and Ivan Wesley, the founders of Anchor Creative, a family-run, multi-passionate creative team who specializes in branding and packaging design. Ivan and Brittany love helping people build their dream brand and product portfolio. They do this with creative excellence, insatiable research, and a firm commitment to their clients' unique stories. Branding and packaging design is Anchor's specialty with 20 plus years of experience, offering thoughtful, personalized, creative services. They are pros at what they do. I've seen it firsthand, and I'm so excited to share their work with you. Now, they've worked in the food and beverage industry. Ivan and Brittany, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Great to be here, Ajel. Thank you.
You've been in the toy industry for a while. Brittany, can you answer this first? The thing that surprised me most about the toy industry was?
The thing that surprised me most was the closed booths. When you go to the food shows and like everything's open and they're like, here's my stuff and it's already on the market and we're ready to go. And the toy industry is like, hey, we have stuff. We're about to release it. Nobody look unless you have an invite and a appointment. So that shocked me. I wasn't ready for that.
And Ivan, please finish this sentence. The thing that surprised me most about the toy industry was?
That package design in general, branding with that branding and package design may be less of a hot topic within the toy industry. We're very surprised coming from food and beverage into toy and game, where not that it's an afterthought, but it kind of is. Like, we've had countless conversations with clients of, oh, this is the last thing we're doing. And we're like, oh, why didn't we start this earlier? So yeah, that was kind of surprising for us.
With both of the things that surprised both of you, how did you break into the industry in the way that you wanted to, providing a premium service? And Brittany, when you're walking around trying to go into trade shows and connect with companies and you realize like, wait, I can't even literally get into a booth. How did you even establish yourselves?
We went to Toy Fair in 2019. And I think I was super nervous because like I had been to a couple other trade shows, but we hadn't gotten to this. And so I was really nervous, and I was like, just go be yourself. We walked up to one person and they were playing games. She's like, hey, you want to play a game? And we're like, cool, we'll play a game. And so we started talking and they had a really cool game. And she's like, so what are you? Who are you? And we told her who we were. I was like, I have 3 kids. And she's like, oh, I have 2. And we started comparing ages. And then we were just really down to earth talking, and told her that we're package designers and we did a lot of stuff. And she's like, hey, I have a package design that needs work done. And we just really hit it off. And her name's Vanessa, and she owns Moby. And she gave us our first break, and we did 4 packages quick and in a hurry. So 1 game, 3 baby SKUs, and we redeveloped her brand and updated her logo, updated her overall arching stuff, because she was going from just toys into baby as well. So like, what does that look like and how does that evolve? And that was our big break.
Super quick interruption on this interview. Periodically, you will hear Ivan, Brittany, and I talking about items that we are looking at on screen, either items that they are showing me in the video or items that I am screen sharing on my end. you can follow along and watch the visuals as well. Just head over to thetoycoach.com/211, and there you will find the video version of this interview. You will also find a link to Ivan and Brittany's flip book, which is the flip book that I am flipping throughout this episode. Okay, let's dive right back into the interview. I want to highlight the Moby line. I just pulled it up on screen now. Is this one of the earlier packages you did for them or later?
We did the PDQ and we updated the hang tag. So she already had the
Nice.
whale pouch done. That was her original. That's the OG. And then we updated the PDQ.
Yeah, in general, advice to others is, coming into the toy industry with what you have. Come with your energy, come with passion. And I think that's a big part of where our success took off, was showing that we're all in. We love the industry and the type of products we're working with.
Was Moby one of the few booths that was not closed, and that's why you were able to connect?
Yeah. When we talk about toys, sometimes we jokingly call it like the penthouse, right? You have some of the big names, Jazzware, Spin Master, Hasbro, like Mattel. They all live in really high places, literally at Toy Fair, because like they're upstairs. But Moby was in a part of the open booth, and so that's where we met. So we're hanging out with more of the challenger brands, is what we call them in the food industry. And so I think that is appropriate even for toys and games as well. The challenger brands, the brands that are coming in and they don't have the backing of the penthouse behind them. They're coming in with a smaller cash flow. They're coming in with a smaller product line, but they're still substantial, and they have some meat on their bones as well, and they're worth talking to.
Now, I did reach out to the community that listens to this podcast, and I told them that you guys were coming, and they had many questions. I didn't tell them who was coming, but I said a packaging expert will be on the podcast. What do you want to know? I did my best to filter down the onslaught of questions that came my way for you guys. But the first one regards to communicating information on packaging. So I would love it if you can think back, any of the brands that you've worked on that really struggled to communicate their product on the packaging. And I'd just love you to walk through how you made that happen. Specifically, the person who submitted this question has a product that has an app that integrates with it, and they struggle communicating that on the package. So either answer that question of, if you've ever communicated a digital feature on a product, maybe there's an example in your portfolio, or maybe there's something you want to show me out there.
Yeah, we can zoom in here. This one is Botsy's.
You had a client with a product called Botsy's. So what is Botsy's?
Yeah, so Botsy's is an electronic building toy, which had app-enabled features. Essentially, your app on your iPad or phone could control the robot to make it move. And it also had another sophisticated item was coding. So you're learning how to code, how Botsy is going to move from point A to point B, and then use the app has very intensive, detailed character IP. There's journeys that you go on. So there's
an augmented reality as well. So it's like augmented reality coding. So you're using your camera in live time, and it's placing Botsy in a different world. Yeah. And then you're telling Botsy how to move. And there's different that you can build Botsy as. And how did you communicate all of that? Well, the quick answer is the QR code.
So you guys put a QR code on the front panel and with a wording that says test drive Botsy. And where did that take people?
Yeah, it takes them to one of their
YouTube videos
that they show the demos, the product.
Yeah, to see Botsy move and spin and lights that are lighting up. Those are certain things that you cannot get across always in the package design. Though we'll get into printing effects later, but like the rest of the recipe of this package design featured some printing effects where highlighted areas were gloss, others were matte finish. Right?
There's the movement. You show like kid on a tablet. That's a huge one.
So yeah,
right here. This inset. Let's talk about what it is. At the bottom left, they have an inset of a kid playing with the app. And using like, what would you call this, like swoosh element to connect it to the toy feature image?
Yeah, I call it the magic. It's
The
a
magic. Okay.
Magic.
Yeah.
The magic.
There are a lot of coating products out there. So you're doing your research on other products that have maybe some of these features.
Yeah.
You find, okay, there are certain iconography used that show, coding, arrows that spin, arrows that go back and forth, flags that show a destination. So, using those icons that were in their IP and then translating them to the package design, showing it in a swirling, magical, way, but also it's leading your eye through the package. So you're starting with a hierarchy of Botsy's hero image. Yes, that's always supremely important. But then your eye, starts to flow to that app-enabled, inset image, as you brought up, Michelle.
This takes me back to college. I remember when I was first learning design principles, the layout of a painting. There, you could have your eye lead linearly, you could do a triangle, you could do vertically, and this seems to be a triangle coming from the left side, going up, and then all the way up and back down.
Yeah.
There's ways to track the eye. There's people that even do intensive studies of how an eye tracks on a shelf. But the QR code is, back in the early days of food and beverage, QR codes were hot, and we're like, this is not going to last. This is going away. And then COVID hit, and then now it is an indispensable, very, very much overused, but useful tool.
I agree. I remember right before COVID, somebody was like, QR codes are going to be big. And I was like, absolutely not. And then COVID hit, and QR codes are like the way. They are the thing.
Well, and they were in Best Buy, and they couldn't have a demo. And so they were championing a demo in certain stores. And because of that lockdown of nobody touches the product anymore, they needed an alternative that was a quick read, quick look. And so not only did the photography and the swoosh magic of the triangle and the dynamic neon green to the dark purple to help things pop, but that like lasting image of the QR code. It was there's multiple things that you need in order to communicate.
Clearly the inset shot showing the kid using the product on an iPad, number one, QR code showing the use of the toy interacting with the app, 2, and then 3, the all important swoosh or some magic that is going to get your eye to look at that iPad first, go to the QR code, see the toy and the name of the brand, and then come back down and keep your eye flowing in that circle. Yeah. That's a great response. And I'm sure that the person who asked that question may be calling you next to help develop their project. Now, moving forward to the conversation of communicating what your product is and what it does, how does someone showcase awards or accreditations that their product might have won without it being overwhelming on a box?
First, you kind of go through a series of questions of, okay, what type of product are you selling? Is that claim, that stamp, that award really going to make the difference, right? Yeah. First, qualify, okay, is it worth it? What, especially if you're in STEM and STEAM and industries like that where you want those certifications. And then in the game industry, we have an example here where we did have more.
I'm like so excited to see what he's going to pull on screen. I'm like, pull it on screen already, man.
What is it? Come on.
What is it? What is he doing? Oh, I love that package. That's a good one.
So a crazy amount of awards. I mean, they're at like,
so here's 4.
Yeah.
Right? You have 4. We chose the top 4. That they felt were the most valuable. But wait,
that's not all.
They really, really were excited about their work. And we lived.
Let's articulate what we're looking at for those people listening to this episode. So Ivan has pulled on Storytime Chess, amazing package that Anchor Creative developed for this company.
They released in 2020 and already had an established package design. Then they came to us and we worked and optimized what was presented in 2020. So during the spring of 2020, chess became a very worthwhile thing to use while people were at home.
Yep.
Queen's Gambit came out in the fall of 2020, so that helped
their year. And Toady Award 2021, I believe.
I think
2021 is when they won. Target picked up. Yeah. And then they started Barnes & Noble as well. So that was the big like moment. And we were with them the spring of 2020 and
Y'all are
we were
cool.
we were pushing in through 2023 with them. And
There's multiple awards shown on the side panel. There's a call about being the most awarded game, most awarded chess game.
So on the side panel, just for anyone listening, on the
Yeah.
side panel of the Storytime chess box, they put the logo at the very top of the side panel, and then they wrote most awarded board game ever. I don't know if that's true. I'm not fact checking, but it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, interesting number to settle on, but 13 awards on the side panel.
plus 4.
Plus 4 awards on the front panel. So that is really, what's the top left award? Is that an award too? The top left side?
No, that's the
So-
stamp that we created for
So
them.
yeah, in
Okay.
the, let's say your toy company has a background of education or a company behind it. Storytime Chess had a great educational tutoring background. So
Okay.
we developed a stamp that would bring accreditation to, to who they are, their education prowess.
And I think
We
to
say
date they're
that-
at 20 plus awards.
Awards.
for this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
awards can keep coming, and your website.
Let me talk about that though, because sometimes people collect these awards. Some people don't want to pay for the badge to use them, but
Right.
what I'm seeing here is this is a really smart lesson on if you're gonna apply for these awards, if you're gonna pay for those badges, how can you leverage it as much as possible? And Storytime Chess
Yeah.
was like, listen, we're gonna leverage this as
Yes.
much as possible. It's a smart move.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's a direction that they went. And
Yeah.
we obviously are for the client. That
Yeah,
they were
and-
really excited about it too. It's on their trade show booth, it's on their website. They are proud of those awards, and they're not going to hide it.
Would you recommend, because I know it's not your particular style, I would say, to put all of the awards in the box like that, but if a client did have a ton of awards and they didn't have a preference for how they wanted to display them on the box, would you then suggest maybe the top award and maybe a QR code to lead to other awards? What would be your preference for a situation like that?
Yeah, it showcased here in this build a bubble package where one particular stamp is shown, which is the STEAM accreditation, right?
Yes.
So rank them in importance, right? Do your research. What are other brands showing as far as that certification? Do not allow the stamp to compete with the rest of your brand, because
Right.
many stamps can be complex. They can be
Yeah.
colorful.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might clash with your own branding. So finding out, okay, should I have that be full color? Could I use the one color version of that certification stamp? So find ways to leverage it, but don't let it take away from or destroy the balance hierarchy.
You also have to ask who your consumer is.
Yeah, that's
like important to the mom.
Yes.
Then a Mom's Choice Award should be a thing. If you're really pushing the STEM product, it should be a STEM award.
Yeah, who the buyers are, where the product will be placed, all very smart to consider. So there's
Yeah.
no one size fits all, but you can go award heavy if everyone cares about, maybe your company's brand new and you're trying to show credibility, so you go super award heavy. Or you're like this South Beach Bubbles Build-A-Kit product, shout out to Ron and Shooky, and you want to focus on one benefit because everyone knows bubbles are fun. Everyone knows South Beach Bubbles is a great company that makes great product. What they don't know is that this bubble kit can provide STEM benefits. So that is a good use of that piece. One call out, I wonder if there would be a potential to do like an A/B test if a company is big enough but has their logistics in order, where they print the package without an award on it, but a space for one, and then test the various awards. Like with stickers.
Yeah.
I have had a student use different awards in ads and found different lifts when they post an ad about their product with one award versus another. So that might also be a good strategy to test and see who's responding to which awards.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's good.
There was one listener who's interested in creating their own kind of authentication stickers. I'm curious if you guys have ever done that before, and if you have, how did you prevent factories from reusing those authentication stickers in inauthentic product?
It's very specific, but I think that there's depth there. There's this authenticity word really jumped from that question.
Yeah.
And so we have a few examples, but they're not ours.
So right now we're taking a look at Exploding Kittens, the Exploding Kittens core card game.
Yep.
And on the back of their box, they have
Yes, they have a small holographic sticker, which speaks to, authenticity, making sure, no copycats. So it's not just collectibles. There's something smart here in protecting your IP, protecting, the integrity, so you want to know that you have a genuine product, okay?
Right.
But at the same time, the control factor does come in. Is that going to
Right.
be misused? Here's another product which speaks to
Holly Hobby.
retro.
Well, it's a color form. It's a
reproduction.
reproduction of
Yep.
a vintage.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay.
it's mine because I grew up
Oh,
with
it's
Holly
literally
Hobby.
yours?
And it
was
says official reproduction, right? In the gold foil stamp, but it's a sticker. It's a sticker. Yep. You can have these individual stickers. You could try to have it be integrated into the production in line, which would probably be better. So you're not having these individual stickers in somewhere that people can misuse. Another tip would be to find a way for your production or manufacturing, and this goes with some of our clients where U.S. based fulfillment.
Yeah, exactly where I was thinking too. Yes.
That's where you have more control. You're able to make sure of all that. But
so in case we're talking to, like theoretically for anyone listening, we're just thinking that the best way to control a sticker placement, if you create your own seal, is to have it placed domestically instead of letting your factory be the one who positions that on all your boxes, whether it's the person who's shipping out all your product, have them place the sticker domestically. You can control that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think that the sticker adds value. I think that your product being branded authentically, being branded in a way that we recognize it, being branded in a way that is ownable and unique to you, that's what adds value. I think that that's what separates you from the knockoffs. I think that that's what differentiates people understanding who Funko is and going, well, Funko would never make a package like that. So whether or not Funko has a collector's sticker is tertiary to the fact that they have a collectible brand that is uniquely ownable to them, that is branded well, that is made with quality, and then the sticker matters. I don't think that the sticker is what brings the value. I think the sticker is like a accent to, so like Star Wars has a sticker here, and it's something that says, hey, we're a retro, hey, and he's a collector.
The thing to let the listener know is also that it's, people trust the stickers, but it's really the trust starts with the brand, that they can trust this brand manages the sticker. So it's really about you, if you're creating this line, you creating a fail safe for that sticker so that people can truly trust it. Because if they find one knockoff product or 20 knockoff products with that sticker, they're going to start to say, can I even trust this sticker? Is the sticker valuable? Okay. Yeah. I want to move on to our second topic, and then I want to get into how you guys work, because I fangirl about you to everyone all the time. Because I think
we fangirl about you too.
Your process is your process is just so good. Okay, so let's move on to packaging, materials, and trends. Because I understand your process and how you work, I know it is heavy trend focused. How do you stay up to date on market trends in packaging and design? Don't come at me for this, toy people, but this is the end of part 1 for this episode. I know. We are at a cliffhanger. I hope you join me this time next week to continue this interview with Brittany and Ivan, where we dive deep into packaging materials and trends. And then after that, I walk you through Anchor's entire creative process so you can know exactly what to expect if you decide to work with them as a client. If you can't wait until next week, I want to encourage you to head over to thetoycoach.com/211, because there you will find the links to connect with Anchor Creative today. You don't have to wait. Connect with them. Let them know I sent you. It means so much to me, and it supports the podcast if you do so. Before I jump into the summary of today's episode, I want to give a thank you to those of you who left questions for our guests inside of our podcast fan club Facebook group. So we have rebranded our Facebook group to be a fan club for this podcast, and that's where I ask fellow listeners of the podcast to share what questions they want our future guests to answer. So if you want to have a say on what I ask future guests, or if you want to give podcast topic suggestions, talk to me about the process of creating this podcast and everything else, I want you to head over to thetoycoach.com/community. If you can't remember the links, all you really have to remember is thetoycoach.com/211. And that is the link to today's episode. I will put all of the links from the conversation today to the community, to Brittany and Ivan's company, Anchor Creative. All of those links will be in the mentioned in this episode show notes. So again, all you've got to remember is thetoycoach.com/211. Let's quickly recap what we learned in this episode. The first topic that we addressed is how to express if your toy has a digital product that works with it. Well, Brittany and Ivan shared how they created a package for a product called Botsy that utilized an inset image of a kid playing with a product on a tablet and what Ivan called the magic, which was a swoosh of sparkles and glow effect that led the viewer's eye to actually see the app and then led the viewer to a QR code. That QR code would take the consumer or the potential consumer of that product to a video where they could see the product interacting with an app. So the big takeaway here is utilize those QR codes to express things that you just can't express on a package, and don't forget to actually show a child playing with that digital component of your product on the packaging. I know you might think, oh, it's a plastic product or it's a plush product and that's the main component of it. You may not think to show a kid using the app, but that is super important to do, especially when your toy has an unexpected feature like a digital component. Further in this conversation, we talked about awards and how to make them work for you. Now, I did mention that a TCA student tested her ads with and without an award seal, and she found that her Facebook ads were converting at a lower cost when she showcased her product with an award seal. So that is a simple test to show that seals work. But Brittany and Ivan did give some great tips on deciding which seals you should show on your product. So ranking your seals, not just by which awards you think are important, but by the awards that your potential consumers think are important. So if your product is particularly focused on moms, maybe you're focusing on that Mom's Choice Award. If your product is focused on the STEM market, maybe you're focusing on that STEM award. If your product is mesh or social emotional learning, you'd be focusing on that mesh award, so on and so forth. We did talk about Storytime Chess, who decided to go all in with all of their awards, which was a strategy that worked really well for them because in showcasing all of those awards, they could also share that they were the most awarded chess game. So you have to think about your strategy for your awards and make them work for you and your brand. If you love this podcast and you haven't already left a review, what are you waiting for? Your reviews mean so much to me. They keep me motivated to keep coming back week after week. I love hearing how this podcast has helped you move forward in your business and in your toy journey in general. So please, wherever you're listening, stop what you're doing, scroll down, look for the button that says write a review or leave a review. Give us those 5 stars and leave us a note and tell us what you're working on, what this podcast has helped you with. I would love to read your review at the end of my next episode. As always, thank you so much for being here with me today. I know your time is valuable and that there are a ton of podcasts out there, so it truly means the world to me that you tune into this one. Until next week, I'll see you later, toy people.
Head over to thetoycoach.com for more information, tips, and advice.